So I'm just going to be asking various questions like pertaining to male on female and female on male domestic violence and like sort of the differences and similarities. Is that
Sure.
okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, so
How did you get my phone number?
you sent the phone number.
No, but I mean, how did you find out about me?
Oh, the email. Oh, I was just researching like different domestic violence specialists, and you were one of the people who came up. So I emailed
Okay.
you.
Okay. Good old Google, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first question is what differences, if any, exist in the methods of physical abuse carried out by male and female perpetrators? So this is
Well,
just. Yeah. Okay, go on, sorry.
yeah. Well, the if you want to the rates of violence, that is the amount of violence by men and women in the population are basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
Each year, there's about 7 million women and 7 million men who will, if you ask them, will say, yeah, at some point during the year, my intimate partner hit me in some kind of way.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So the rates are equal, and if anybody tells you otherwise, they're citing
Yeah, I've heard.
crime statistics. There are crime statistics, so it's a difference between what happens in the general population and then the number of people who get arrested. So men are much more likely to get arrested, so they're overrepresented in the criminal justice system. But as far as in the general population surveys find that the rates are equal. So now the main difference. So that's physical aggression, right?
Yeah.
So the main difference with physical aggression is because men are generally bigger and stronger, they cause more severe injuries. So if you're looking at severe injuries, not scratches or mild redness, because women cause those injuries at rates very similar to men. But when it comes to more severe injuries, broken bones or injuries that require medical attention, then women are far more likely to be seriously injured. And they're also about 80% of domestic violence homicides where someone is killed, if the woman is the victim, about 20% of the time it's the man. So those are the main differences is the impact that it has. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So similar question, but for verbal and emotional abuse.
The rates are exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Men and women verbally and emotionally abuse each other at very similar rates. There are some differences just in terms of the types of abuse. So women, for example, are more likely to withdraw love and sex as a way to punish or control their partners. Men are able to use physical intimidation more easily. And there's some other differences, but for the most part, women and men engage in psychological abuse at pretty much similar rates.
Okay. And then going back to the physical abuse, is there like different types of physical abuse that like are there differences in the types of physical abuse that men and women carry out? Like is it like you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't off the top of my head, as I recall, women punch more and men slap more.
Really?
But I could be wrong there. It's pretty comparable.
Yeah.
I would say that the differences in the types of violence used are they're not really very large differences, and I don't recall the exact breakdown. But when it comes to physical aggression, men and women use pretty much the same. I think maybe men are more likely to use their fists, and women are more likely to use objects and weapons when it comes to more severe violence. So when you look at violence where someone's been injured, the woman is more likely to have caused the injuries with some weapon or object, and the man is more likely to have caused the injuries with his fists.
Yeah.
So women try to make up for their lack of size and strength with
that makes sense.
With objects and weapons. Yeah.
And sort of spinning off what you just said there. To what extent does physical strength affect like the hospitalization and injury rate of battered women in comparison to men? Like in comparison to other factors like I guess aggression and like intent to hurt or cause damage.
It's a very sophisticated question. They're all important. I don't have any formula. The man's strength and his intent and all that are all part of the equation.
Yeah.
I will say this: there's no correlation between a man's size and strength and whether or not he's going to be violent.
Of course,
men who are stronger and bigger aren't necessarily more violent. But yeah, when it comes to aggression, if the bigger and stronger he is, you would think the more likely he is to cause injuries. But there's another component. Men are also socialized to not hit women. So very often when a man hits a woman, he will restrain himself. He won't hit a woman the way he would hit a man. So there's that. But there's no mathematical formula to. It's all important. Let's put it this way: men and women who think it's okay to hit people are going to hit people.
True. Yeah.
So it really has to do with their attitudes about violence. So men and women who grew up in violent environments are more likely to use violence against their partners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess spinning off of that again, are there differences in the risk factors for an abusive partner in men and women?
No, not really. Men and women hit or assault one another for the same reasons that they have to do with. The most important risk factors would be, number one, having an aggressive personality, like either being born with or sort of socialized to be aggressive, to antisocial type of attitudes, or some kind of personality disorder where the individual cannot control their emotions very well and they're just have an aggressive streak, like borderline personality disorder.
Yeah.
And antisocial personality disorder are both correlated with domestic violence perpetration. So that's a big one. Another one is growing up in an abusive family.
Mm-hmm.
The main risk factor. Another one is substance abuse. That's another major risk factor. Another one is low income. People who are low income are more likely to have problems and fight over those problems that can lead to violence. And then one of the main risk factors is just being in a relationship with somebody who's aggressive.
Of course, yeah.
And so there's a high level. Most domestic violence, most relationships with this domestic violence, both partners are violent. About 60% of the time, it's both partners are violent, and about 25% of the time it's the man only. 25% of the time it's the woman only.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The risk factors are pretty much the same for men and women.
Okay, yeah.
Now, if you ask shelter workers, people that work in shelters, mostly women, they will try to spin it as, well, women are more likely to hit in self-defense.
Yeah.
And men are more likely to engage in violence as a way to control their partners. It's just completely untrue.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest myths about domestic violence. Just like women are the number one cause of women being killed is domestic violence. It's not.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, like 15 from age 15 to 44, it's number one cause of domestic violence. Yeah.
It's not. The research shows that it's like number 6 or 7. It's way behind car accidents and other things.
Yeah, I did think that was weird. Yeah.
It's not true. The other thing that's not true is on Super Bowl Sunday, there's a spike in domestic violence because men are watching football and they're all pumped up. That's not true either.
Just a myth.
Those are myths. They're just not true. So if you get any research from battered women's advocates will be suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's better than others. Some do a better job of being accurate, and some do a lousy job. So you really, what's really true is that basically women are more likely to be raped and sexually abused. They're also more likely to be injured. Those are the main differences.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They're also more likely to be in fear.
Yeah.
And that changes the dynamic. And also at very high, when you get to the higher levels of domestic violence, like the kind where people are, either killed or worried about being killed, and they're constantly under threat of being killed, that's the vast majority of the time, that's a female victim.
Yeah.
Because women generally aren't able to forcefully say kidnap the guy, take him to the mountains, and then just hold him hostage for a month. It's just you hardly ever hear anything like that. So so it's true that the kind of things you see in the movies where the man is just totally controlling, like a pimp with a prostitute. Yeah, that's almost always a male perpetrator. So the advocates are correct. At the high levels of violence, it's almost always a male who's engaging in that kind of severe controlling violence. But that's a very small part. I mean, that's very rare compared to your everyday kind of domestic violence that people get arrested for.
So men sort of represent more of the extremes of domestic violence, just sort of due to physical strength.
Yeah, like the ability, just the physical ability to restrain makes a difference. So a woman who, going back to the risk factors, having an aggressive personality and being motivated to abuse your partner is very, very important. Right?
Yeah.
So women who are abusive towards their partner, they don't go about it exactly the same way. Mm-hmm. It depends on the relationship. So a woman who's in a relationship with just an average guy who doesn't think it's okay to hit women, that kind of woman who's aggressive will be verbally and physically abusive, knowing that he probably won't retaliate.
Yeah.
Or if he does, you can call the police and blame it on him. But if the guy is like a badass who's been to prison and he's scary, and you're like, so she may hit him, but what she probably would do is wait till he's asleep or until he's drunk and then use some kind of weapon.
Yeah.
In other words, what I'm saying is that women who are really abusive aren't stupid, so they're gonna abuse the partner in whatever way they can get away with. So if it's somebody can just punch and call names, they'll do that. But if it's someone's going to retaliate and possibly kill them, they won't do that. They'll be more careful. They'll get their new boyfriend to beat his ass, or they'll shoot him, or they'll and most women aren't like that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, I'm talking about a subset of really severely violent women. But these women just aren't capable of just like kidnapping the guy and like holding hostage. What they can do is they can hit him while he's asleep, or they can things like that. So women make up for the lack of size and strength if you're motivated, like the ones who are really quite aggressive. Whereas a man who's very aggressive and controlling can just sort of physically overpower the woman.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's smart, he'll like lock his door before he goes to bed, right?
Yeah.
But, so I'm giving you a sense of the complexities of how these things work out. It's more, just use your common sense. I mean, if you know that men are usually bigger and stronger, you can figure the woman's more of a disadvantage.
Of course.
But women are partners too, and there's the factor of the man. Men are not socialized to hate women, so they tend to sometimes kind of just take it.
So spinning off of what you just said, how men aren't socialized to hit women, in what way do you think men and women are socialized into their given gender roles can influence these abusive relationship dynamics?
Well, right. So there's surveys have been conducted in the United States where a normal average citizen is asked, what do you think about, is it okay to ever hit your partner? Is it okay to hit a woman? Is it okay to hit a man? And very low numbers of Americans think it's okay to hit your partner, like it's like 5%. But the numbers are a little bit higher for females being violent. So it's generally Americans give, they say it's, don't quote me on this, but I think it's somewhere around 10% of Americans think it's okay for a woman to hit her partner, and about 3% think it's okay for the male to hit his partner under certain circumstances. So it's kind of low. The approval rate for domestic violence is low, but it's not as. But it's there's more of a tolerance for violence against men than. Also, women use that as an excuse that you can hit their partner because he can take it. And men tend to sort of downplay violence against them. So when I ask men about violence against them, they usually kind of minimize it. So unless they're stabbed, men don't want to admit that they've been overpowered by women. Men are conditioned to, supposed to be strong and in control. Mm-hmm. And women who are aggressive use that to their advantage.
Yeah.
And women. some battered women's advocates will say that women are socialized to not be aggressive. Yeah, I don't completely buy that. I don't know if you've been watching movies lately, but I see a lot of women kicking ass.
Yeah.
So maybe in the past it was kind of like that. It's kind of changed, but there's a big difference between the way how women are socialized to be in public and what happens behind closed doors, and that explains why these findings of domestic violence seem so surprising to people. Because in the general population, men are much more aggressive than women. They commit most violent crimes, and they engage in most sexual crimes and all that. So why is it that in the home the rates of violence are the same? It's because in the home, women traditionally had more of a stake in the home. It's a place where even in the most backward cultures, women are allowed to sort of run the home because it's women raise children and they're the primary caregivers. So in the home, women just take it upon themselves to defend their interests, and they're more likely to be violent in the home. But outside the home, you're right. It's not ladylike to be going around being aggressive. So yeah, I mean, we still have those roles, those expectations are still kind of there. Men are supposed to be tough and in control, and not be not. And women's roles are changing. They're no longer. It's no longer expected of women that they'd be accommodating and all that. That's changed. It's no longer the case. We're not in the 60s or 70s anymore.
Yeah.
I will say this: women are generally less naturally aggressive outwardly than men. So it's only in relationships that they. You don't generally see women fighting in bars and fighting just in general, though that's changing somewhat. It's a little. It's not like it used to be 50 years ago. So I would say gender roles are changing, but men are still expected to not hit women and to be, in control of their emotions. But one stereotype about women is that they're very emotional, and that because they're emotional, they're not as culpable if they commit a crime. Like if a woman, hits a man, it must have been because she was so angry she couldn't control herself. But if the man hits her, it's because he's a man and he wants to be in control. Those are stereotypes, and they don't really hold up. And research doesn't support those stereotypes. Women are just motivated for the same reason. Some women are engaged in self-defense. Some men engage in self-defense. Some women are very controlling. Some men are controlling. Often it's jealousy that causes men and women to be violent, and so the motives are very similar. Again, the main differences really have to do with the greater impact on women. But as far as motives and risk factors, they're about the same.
Okay. And yeah, do you think these gender roles and sort of societal stigmas that men need to be tough and in control of their emotions and can't a woman can't really it's looked down upon for a woman to have that sort of power over a man in an abusive relationship? Do you think this would contribute or has contributed to like an underreporting of female on male domestic violence?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. When men who have been abused are asked about, well, why didn't you call the police? And they often give the same reasons that women do, like they don't want their partner to go to jail, or they hope their partner will change, or things like that. But one thing that men do say that women generally don't say as often is they'll say that I should be the responsible one. Somebody goes to jail, it should be me. I'll fall on the sword. Because I'm the guy, and I should, blah blah blah. So it's pretty stupid because then they go to jail, and then the woman leaves and finds some other guy, and then that guy is all screwed at that point, and then he wants to finds a new relationship. Maybe, but if he has a kid, then the mother might use previous accusations of domestic violence against him in family court. So it's never a good thing to take the fall on the sword for anybody. But men are supposed to be protectors of women, so that's why they tend to minimize. It's like, think of it this way: it's like we're playing into stereotypes. Like the battered women's advocates, in my opinion, I mean, look, they do great work. We need them. We need shelter, obviously. But when it comes to like politics and like advocacy, they're just, if you think about it, they really aren't doing women much of a favor. They follow the same stereotypes. Like they portray women as helpless. Like all women in relationships are helpless. So if they're violent, it must be in self-defense. Like they don't consider the fact that some women are just want to just be in charge, and that they're aggressive naturally. They, if you think about it, if you think about gender roles, and we're supposed to be achieving more parity between the sexes. The continued insistence that women are just victims really holds women back, in my opinion. I think it's kind of a sexist way of looking at women, to see them as just as babies and aren't responsible like children. But that's often how battered women's advocates look at them, the same way that guys who are very patriarchal or kind of look at women. So the old-fashioned guys who look at women that way are kind of like the same attitudes that battered women's advocates have. So it's kind of ironic, in my opinion. But that's how it is.
Yeah. Okay. And then I have another question. What differences exist? I'm not sure. It's kind of a strange question, but what differences exist in sort of the signs or red flags on the outset, like from looking into another person's relationship? What differences may exist in the signs of domestic abuse between the genders, like on male and female, female on male?
Yeah, if you well, just in general, if you see a couple who argue a lot, call each other names, if there's a lot of psychological abuse, there's always big chances of physical abuse. If the arguing consists not of just yelling or raising voices, but name calling, then it's more serious. If one partner seems to really be afraid of the other, like they just look like they're in fear, or they tend to be subservient and go along with everything the other person says, that might be a bad sign. So,
Okay. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. What are the differences in the ways that male and female survivors of domestic abuse like sort of cope and react to the abuse that they face?
In all kinds of ways. Some just kind of take it, and they just maybe talk about it with friends, or close friends, or family. Some seek professional help, or go to shelters. Depends on how serious it is. Serious, repeated domestic violence. People who are in these relationships, sometimes they just learn they kind of get used to it, so they don't really get help. Or they're afraid to get help. Just remember this. There's something that's really important, especially if you're like just learning about this topic. You got to separate what the news media and movies say about domestic violence and what actual domestic violence. So the great majority of what we call domestic violence, which is when somebody's literally grabbed or pushed somebody once or twice, versus what you see in the movies, is just huge. There's a huge disparity there. The vast majority of domestic violence is more grabbing and pushing. And it's in the context of an argument.
It's a lot more mutual, correct?
What's that?
It's a lot more mutual, right?
Well, it's typically mutual, but even if it's not mutual, it's generally low level. The kind of domestic violence that you see public service announcements about, with the one with a black eye. That's a minority of cases where the man is exercising, really harming the woman, and it's a serious. I'm not saying this isn't a serious problem. It is. But, there's 6 or 7 million men and 6 or 7 million women. So it's 14 million people who in the United States each year will say that there's some domestic violence that's been committed against them. But each year there's 1,400 people are killed. 1,400 out of 14 million.
Yeah.
1,400 out of 14 million, very small number of cases of domestic violence where someone is killed. So there's a big difference. So when you got to be careful when you talk to people about domestic violence, they may think you're thinking about something else. So so when if I say, well, domestic violence rates are pretty much the same for men and women, that really sets off the veterans advocates. They'll say, oh, we don't ever see men, getting their faces beat in. And I say, yeah, you're right. But, I'm just talking in general. So the difference between general domestic violence and more specific, serious violence that leads to someone being killed. And the people who tend to get killed are more likely to be women, but not always, right? A lot of guys get killed.
Yeah.
By women who want their insurance money, or they're just pissed off because the guy's dating a new girl, and just, I had a case in Atlanta. I worked with some attorneys there, where the woman was arrested for shooting her boyfriend 11 times, and she shot him because he was threatening to call the police on her for hitting him. That was the only reason she shot him. It wasn't because she was afraid of him. She just and I've worked with cases where the woman, shot the guy because he abused her for 20 years, and she was sick of him and she was afraid. So every case is different.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think women tend to report their domestic violence more than men?
Yeah.
Or is it similar? Okay.
No, it's more. Because it's okay for women to be victims.
Yeah, just more
Imagine
stigma.
that you and your girlfriend are having an argument, and your girlfriend all of a sudden just gets, maybe she was drinking too much or something, she starts punching you.
Yeah.
And you call the police, and you're not really wanting her to be arrested, but you want to make sure that the situation gets handled. And the police show up, and the policeman pulls you aside and goes, look, hey dude, do you really want to go through with this? And he's like big police officer, maybe smirking, you're likely gonna say, well, no, I just want to get some help. Whereas a woman is more likely to say, yeah, arrest his ass.
Mm-hmm.
No, women, for men to call the police, especially if they haven't been seriously injured, there's a social stigma with that.
Yeah.
I can tell you the police, they're trained to take phone calls seriously, but in reality, the police are more likely to pull the guy aside and ask if he really wants to go through with it. They'll never do that with a woman. They'll never advise her or question her, telling the police.
Yeah.
But they will question because they sort of feel sorry for the guy. They don't want him to lose. They want to help him save face, so to speak. So you see that. I've been doing work with offenders for 30 years, so I hear all these stories, and I see a lot of that. So generally men don't call us often. Usually they call the police when things really get out of hand, typically. Women are more likely to call. And also a lot of times when women call the police, they don't want the guy to be arrested. They just want some intervention.
Yeah.
And they're surprised to find that the police, that the police say they have to arrest for them.
Yeah.
So all kinds of, it can get a little crazy after that.
Yeah. So you think police often will take male on female domestic violence a lot more seriously than female on male?
Yeah.
And what about does that also reflect in court? Like is it taken more seriously in court?
Absolutely.
In what ways?
Well, there's been studies of juries where, mock juries, I used to say adults who are given scenarios by psychologists to imagine you're on a jury and you were presented with this case, how would you vote? And when they compare male and female defendants with the same level of offense, same crime, they feel much harsher on the men.
It's interesting. What specific like?
There's some reasons for that.
Yeah.
Remember, men cause more serious injuries.
Mm-hmm.
But even when you factor that in, like if studies show that even if the level of injury is like negligible, like very low level injury, they'll still convict the man more often because it's just men are just the stereotype is men are more responsible.
Yeah.
If you think about it again, it's a very sexist way of looking at women.
Mm-hmm.
It infantilizes women.
Yeah.
I mean, it because right, it's like, well, we can't arrest her because she's a woman. She must have been like, she can't possibly have like wanted things and then tried to get them.
Yeah, they
By her
assume
own
the guy
authority.
must have done something to provoke her.
Yeah, because women are no, it's more than it's not just that women are peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
It's that women are passive.
Yeah.
And they don't have agent. You know the term agency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, so the idea is that women just don't have that kind of agency. Well, if women don't have agency and they're not able, if they're not motivated to be aggressive towards their boyfriends and they're always helpless, well then why would we want women to be, running companies
Yeah.
or to be firefighters or police officers? Really? Did you want a helpless child be a police officer? Why is that the helpless children are allowed? Helpless childlike women are allowed to be police officers, but they can't possibly be perpetrators of, that doesn't make any sense. Right?
Yeah.
That's where it all breaks down. No, but what I've been listing you is all the facts about domestic violence, and there's enough differences between men and women that recognizes reality without necessarily falling into stereotypes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciated that talk.